going on there? I'm not sure what's going on here. Ah, okay, I see. Excuse me just a second. Okay, that's better, I think. It's all right, guys. Sorry about that. It's all right, just setting out. It's all right. I traded some news earlier. Shit hit the fan, so to speak. Let me just. I don't know why that is doing that. Oh my good God! Come on, Lancy boy, sort your life out. I don't know why this thing is just spazzed out a minute. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. It's all right. As you guys know, I got 19 accounts and I was just trying to get one extra. Now, I traded the news on the NQ and Rhythmic just, I don't know, excuse me, spazzed out. Went all over the place. One was up a bit. And the other one went up and then came down, and they were opening and closing and opening and closing. So I went on to the Discord, and they're clearly having problems with Rhythmic again. So it's like 2 days in a row. It is a bit of a pain in the arse. So apparently they will sort these two accounts. So I just thought I'd have a go at a... see if any of these... Oh, it's done it again. Come on. Something doesn't seem to be working well today. I thought I'd just have a go at... see if I can pick one of these up. But yeah, I don't know. So just be careful today, folks. Rhythmic is an absolute pain in the arse, I got to say. I know it really isn't Apex's fault. They have no control over Rhythmic. But it doesn't help you. So I kind of feel a bit sorry for them because they get battered with emails when stuff goes wrong. But as I've said before, if part of their package that they sell you have to use Rhythmic, then I think they need to either use something else or take responsibility for it, but which they do. So if you've had any problems this morning for some reason, whether it's anything to do with the news, or not that much data coming out, I don't really know. Corinne Hayden, they have said they've fixed Rhythmic. Good news this weekend. They said they will fix Rhythmic. Upgrade. Good news. Yeah, let's hope they sort it out. Traded cash this morning. Yeah, okay, let's just say hello to everyone. Karina, how you doing? Accounts will be fixed. Rhythmic upgrade over the weekend to prevent this from happening. Thank you for understanding and cooperation. Please do not cancel it. Yeah, if you've had an account go wrong, just leave it and they'll sort it out. Let me have a look. H, how you doing? Ionis, how are you? Indy, how you doing, pal? Edward, how you doing? Speedy, how you doing, pal? Karina, we've said hello to you. Philip, baby squid, straight lines, tattoo. Okay. Yeah, it is a pain in the arse. I know it is. You know, I've got these accounts. You know, I was talking to my wife earlier, and she went, "You're not trading." I went, "Well, I couldn't sign in. I couldn't sign in earlier. I'm in now." But so I was just tempted if I can get these accounts up to $2,600 to take the whole 40,000 at it and just trade my own account. I was chatting to a guy a while ago, and he said he's been trading with Ninja Trader, his own account, for 5 years, and never had one single problem. So obviously we know the problems with Rhythmic, and unfortunately, currently there's no real way around it. It's just a problem which can keep occurring and does. I mean, it's been a while. Before yesterday, it's been a couple of 3 months before we've had a problem. But But it is just a pain. Can I trade? The Discord group, they said don't trade. I would say trade at your own risk. You may be better off just, I mean, it's Friday today. You may be better off just to not trade today and just come back tomorrow. Come back Monday. It's hard to say, really. It's up to you, but it is a risk. Now, I've switched mine over to a sim just for now, because when I had these two evaluations, I noticed up here, my top right, where my positions are, they were opening, closing. I had the blue things flash up and then the pink things flash up. 1 minute it was up, next minute it was down. So, you know, I can kind of understand how stressful it must be if you were trading an account. Now, personally, I don't know whether it's because people are trading the news, and obviously very fast moving stuff, lots of people trading. I noticed in the Discord there was a guy who had, I think he had $250,000 evaluations, and I think he clearly traded the news because his amount was up $16,000, so he clearly passed, but some sort of hadn't. So whether it is anything to do with the news and there's just that much volatility that it's playing out, I don't really know, in all honesty. I just know Rhythmic is a pain in the bum. You want to come in and trade, but I know Apex don't control them. So, you know, I've had this opinion that the Apex should take, you know, they should either find something that works or you know, but it must be a pain for them as well, because they're going to have a shed load of emails come through now, and they're going to have to spend time. So it creates a lot of work for them as well. So, you know, I'm being diplomatic here. So they don't want it. None of us really want it, but unfortunately, these things just seem to happen, and it's hard to exactly know why. So what I might do here is just trade an account. I don't know what to do. I want to trade me accounts. Apex usually do allow accounts to pass due to Rhythmic. I'm known to roll back issues. Yeah, it's a tough one, really, isn't it? Promo high volume of clients and Rhythmic data. Yeah, I agree. You know, you got a lot of people. 90% off. There's a lot of people coming in. More and more people using this Rhythmic, and I suppose it makes sense. There's going to be problems, but you know, if you're giving these offers and you're having problems, it's one of these things that nobody wants. But we all sort of got to suffer it. Really, we got to suffer it. Apex have got to suffer the backlash, because obviously, you know, with these rules and you know, a few people, it seems to be. What was I saying? I've just blanked out. I know, is it Trades by Matt had $40,000 stopped, which is a bit scary, but it does seem to be targeted at dollar cost averaging, which I'm aware what it is because I've done it with crypto. I've not traded it, so they seem to not like that. But I believe it's entering on a losing trade. So I don't fully understand how it works, but it does seem to be something that Apex don't like. So there is a lot of stuff floating around about Apex at the moment, but I'm not really concerned that, you know, they've sort of made clear that they're following these rules now, but because, you know, if you listen to those 3 videos, there are people out there trying to scam them. And it makes perfect sense if you're a business and people are trying to rip you off, you're going to start to put things into place. So unfortunately, the people who are trying to scam them have sort of, you know, made it difficult for us all, really, which is a ball ache. So they're having to enforce these to, you know, to stop it. I don't quite know. You never quite know the full picture, do you? But I know Trades by Matt. So I kind of glad it happened to someone, not him specifically, but, you know, he sort of, you know, it's someone not so much in the public eye, but more he's more of a well-known streamer that uses Apex. So it's nice to know that they're sort of picking people at random. They're not leaving him alone because, you know, he might bring them some business via his affiliate link. So it's kind of no one's safe really. If you trade a certain way, then you're on their radar. So I get why they do it. To me personally, adding in to a losing trade doesn't make sense, but I don't understand the strategy. It may be a strategy that people use, a lot of people use it, maybe it's a successful strategy, but Apex, I don't know why it's starting to flash. It's just flickering and flashing. Yeah, there are so many different strategies out there. I've only really ever used this one and a little bit of penguins, so I'm still wet under the nose really. I'm just a newbie really in this world. I've been training for 3.5 years, so really I've only really sort of what I consider hitting the intermediate level where I'm starting to get a little bit of success, a little bit of knowledge, but there's still so much to learn. So if you've got a normal standard, standard stop, standard risk, standard type strategy, I don't think it's a worry at all. I'm not concerned. The only bit that pisses me off really is the technical issues. I'm pretty sure Apex, if they had a better option, I'm pretty sure they would take it, because they're going to spend the rest of the afternoon, having to pay extra staff, and they don't want the ball like either. Exactly the same as like we don't. Some DCA, because they get the ideal entry, DCA allows you to move entry. Some DCA. And yeah, see, what I understand about it, if I, for instance, let's talk in crypto, if I bought Solana at $200, if I bought one of them, if the price came down to $100 and I bought another one, theoretically, it makes my average price over those two come down. So instead of buying, 200 for one, 100 for another, it's $150. So, it is a good way of averaging out prices and losses and stuff like that. But they don't seem to like that. And I must say that most of the people I've heard that have had their payments denied, or certainly a lot of them, do say that they were DCAing. Now, they've obviously been doing it up to now, and Apex have done nothing about it. But they obviously seem to be putting the foot on the gas a little bit. But I was surprised how many, you never quite know really, but I was surprised all these scams and cons that they do. So if you've had your money denied, I get your frustration, and I get why people want to speak up and all that. It's perfectly natural, isn't it? Because it's like, well, hold on a minute. You say it's the rules. Well, you've been paying us up to now, so you're either doing it or you don't. So I get the frustration. It's no one wants the hassle. You want a nice, easy life. You want to turn up, do your job, and go home. But fortunately, I haven't had any issues with payments. Not that I've had a lot, but as I say, Pats is about as pretty standard and middle of the road and relatively safe strategy. That you're just not going to get any problems really when it comes to Apex. We're not DCAing, we're not we're not bracket orders. We have a stop. Everything's pretty well small area, small control. So if anybody is a bit concerned about things you're hearing, I wouldn't really worry about it. I know what's the good? Is it Kellyanne? She's been making a few videos about it. So what do you say? It's just a tough one, really, isn't it? I'm a bit more diplomatic. I don't want to step on people's toes, because I get the frustration with people. It is frustrating because if they've been paying you up to now, all of a sudden you change, you're going to say, well, hold on a minute, you either do or you don't. I think she's quite entertaining actually. But it's life, isn't it? If life's easy, there's no problem. As soon as things start to go wrong. But there you go. But I understand there's a few people. It's a bit of a shocker. I mean, I'd certainly be shocked if I was the trades by Matt and I was waiting for $40,000 and all of a sudden they said you can't. The thing I don't understand is what happens next. So if they refuse you a payment, what do you do? Do you keep trading and follow the rules? Will you still get that money back? So, for instance, Matt, he's got turned down for that. So he changes his strategy and he can have it next month. That's what I don't quite understand. If they refuse it, does that mean you can't ever withdraw that money, or does that mean the money gets taken out, or does that mean you've got to trade a bit longer? That for me isn't very clear. That's what I don't understand. You know, I mean, if they say, okay, this month you can't have it because you need to follow the rules. If you follow the rules next month, can you withdraw it? 10 more trading days. If you ever get denied a payout, you just have to trade 10 more days. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Now, I get if people were relying on certain money, then I get the frustration. You know, if we'd all be a bit frustrated if all of a sudden you were relying on that money. But all I'd say is I wouldn't get too stressed. You just have to adapt, really. Now, I know people like me and Brant and Karina and I think Speedy and Philip and Indy. I think most of you guys use PATs, I think, which is about, you've just not got to worry when it comes to our strategy. I know people adapt it slightly, but we pretty much follow the, you know, there's, for all you pattern guys out, there's an M shape. Are we coming down, are we now? That's about as good as an M as you'll see. Are we going to come down, retest it? Are we coming down here now? Maybe. So I don't know whether to trade or not, really. My daughter off today because of the holidays. She's been on about getting her ear pierced, so I invite her. I said to her, I'll take the day off, I'll take you into town, I'll buy you lunch, I'll get your ear pierced, and she refused. Some kids are never happy, are they? So I thought I'd jump on the chart and have a look just to see. I think things are back to normal, but I haven't. I've had a quick look on the Apex site. Let's have another quick look and see if there's any messages on there, because as much as I want to trade, I don't want to risk my accounts. Excuse me, so I'm just going to move this over here. Let's have a look, see if there's any official messages. If you get denied a pay, you should have to trade it. Yeah, okay, so it's not the end of the world. It's not a, you know, I think the only thing that's going to be tough is if you're relying on the money. And obviously, you know, if you're doing it full time and it's a wage, then you were probably expecting it. And you might be a little bit, understandably, a little bit cheesed off if you haven't. So let me just have a look. Click on the help desk, see if it says anything. No, it's just got the thing on from yesterday. There's no updates, but I think Karina said that something's up somewhere. Have a look. What did you say, Karina? Let me have a look. Accounts will be fixed. Rhythmic will be upgraded over the weekend to prevent this from happening. Okay, so that's something to. We need to trade London. No, New York. Yeah, I've never actually, considering I'm from the UK, I've never actually traded anything in the UK. So I don't know whether it's safe to trade or not. It's hard to say, really, isn't it? But not that we're getting many trades in the way anyway. So what do? Do I just pick account and trade it, or what? 2 trades already, have you? Okay. I'll tell you what then. Let's pick an account. That one. Let's open Flowbox. So that was 59, was it? That was 59. Okay. Everything does seem to have settled down. So 59 exact quantity, and let's just pick some. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm just going to pick half of them. Let's make sure everything's opening like it should.
Order submitted. Order cancelled.
10 ticks. Let's double check. We're all good there. Okay. Check Discord. Good point. Hard to say, there's that many messages. Is there anything official up there? There's nothing. There's nothing on the Apex website as yet that I can see. Okay, let me just drop a quick message. Okay. Just put a quick message on there. Are we okay to trade? See if I get any answers. Can't see anything. Okay, let's click on notice board, see if that shows anything. Nothing announcements. I can't see anything. What was this? I can't see anything. Main chat. Let's have a look. We know there are some disruptions in Rhythmic, but do not fear, APAR has your back. We're going to adjust accounts affected. Do not trade accounts. Do not cancel accounts. Do not remove accounts. Do not trade accounts. Okay, I'm thinking they're meaning affected accounts. Okay. I think it means affected accounts. I don't know. Are you guys trading? Brant, you've traded already. So, okay. Let's just be careful.
Order submitted.
That works okay. Everything's showing what it should be.
Order
okay.
cancelled.
We'll just keep an eye on things. Okay, what's going on here? So we've got a channel with a break, new high, down a little bit, sort of made a couple of attempts, and then we came down to a channel with a break and a new low. We had a channel up. I would say somewhere along the lines of that. We had a break and a new high. So, channel down, break, 2 pushes to a new low. Let's have a look. Can I ask you guys a question? Brant, I think you've got, no, pretty sure you've got multiple accounts. Okay, quick question for you guys, if you can, is if you've got 20 PA accounts, I've got 19, so say 19, 20. Do you trade them all? Do you split them in half, or do you split them into smaller portions? I'm a bit unsure what to do at the moment. I'm just splitting them to half. I would love to trade them all, because there's that few setups. When you get a good setup, you want to take advantage of it. Now, I know Trades by Matt trades all of them. I know Wilson trades all of them. I know, who's the other guy, the other streamer? I believe he trades them all, so it does seem to be quite popular to trade them all. Now, I'm just unsure, really. I really would love to trade them all. But the trouble is, if you do get an issue where you lose accounts, at least if you only lose half of them, you've still got a leg to stand on as such. It's a tough one, isn't it? You trade five 50s with 10 contracts each. I remember you saying that the other day. I have smaller accounts, 420s with 2 contracts. I trade each group of 5, yeah. The 5 I haven't touched. Tough one, really, isn't it? It's a hard decision, really. Because there isn't a lot of setup, so you want to try and take advantage as you know. I'm tempted. I'm tempted to get all these accounts over $2,600 and withdraw the lot and to start my own account and then maybe build some more accounts back up with Apex. So kind of have both. That's if I can get these accounts up to 2,600. There's just not many trades around lately. I'll just rotate them. Set max contract group. Yeah. So if you go for 2 points and you go for max contract, you're making about $1,000, aren't you? So we all know if we get these brilliant setups, they just don't fail, or incredibly rarely. So I suppose, could you take 3 trades with 10 contracts each, get the account to 3,000, and then go down to 5 contracts, and then get another 4 trades, get the account to 5,000, and then maybe trade 2 contracts, and whatever you make above 5,000 per month, withdraw. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Is there a way to copy your trade's personal account? Yes, I believe you can. I don't know how yet, but I believe there is. I know there's an option to be able to trade multiple prop firm accounts in the way of Quantower. You can do that on Quanta. That's the only one I'm aware of. But yeah, I believe you can. See, at the moment, I've got my lifetime license connected to here, so I'm pretty sure can trade max, then dump down to it. Yeah. So, I mean, look, we all want to get our accounts to 3,000 plus. So if you took 3 trades, so you got 3,000, and it's probably a couple of hundred of fees. So let's say 3,000 for argument's sake. Then you've thought of built up a buffer, and it's only really 3 trades. And if I was remembering you saying the other day you haven't taken one for a week or 2, that's because you're trading 10 contracts. You want to wait for a setup that one of the ones that jump in front of you and wave. So I get if you get 3 trades, 3 winning trades, it's not difficult at all. If you wait for good trades, I'd expect you to get that. And then you've got an account at $3,000, so then you could maybe reduce it down and say, okay, let's keep that in there, and whatever I make over the next month, I'll withdraw regular, because it'd be nice to have enough money in there. In an ideal world, I like what Matt's done. He's got $10,000 in each account, which is a huge buffer, nice, comfortable buffer for trading 2 contracts. And, you know, whatever you make over the next month, up to 2,000, you withdraw. That way you've always got that 10,000 there. I mean, you get 10,000 in these accounts, you've got a nice, safe account. I do have my own Ninja Trade license though. You can copy trade your own personal account with Apex. I've done it. Yeah, I've had a few people say you can. There is a bit of a lower high there, but we've got a leg. It could trigger you and pull back up before it comes down, so I'm not taking that. So yeah, it's hard to know what to do, isn't it? You could maybe pick a couple and put them on 10, but the trouble is, if you get it wrong, you've not got, you know, you lose 1 trade, you lose 3 points. You can, well, more or less kiss goodbye to that account. You know, it's a sort of a one. You may get lucky and be able to have a second pull at it, but you know, I get the idea of trading different types, but that's the thing. Everyone's got a different idea of, you know, how they want to look at these accounts and how they want to trade them. Some people, you know, I even hear some people saying micros, and I'm thinking, someone said to me the other day, just trade 2 micro. I think it's going to take me 2 years to get my accounts anywhere near worth a withdrawal. 2 micros, I just thought that's a little bit too So what's the risk? 2 micros, $15. I'm risking about 0.25%. It's you know, I mean, these are high probability setups, and if you get okay and pretty good at them, you're not going to lose many in a row. And you'd have to lose 8 or 9 in a row trading 2 contracts. If you're losing 8 or 9 trades in a row, you're clearly not ready anyway. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. In fact, I did a sim yesterday on that down to there. We had this leg down, and we had one. This is what I looked at it. More of a slightly large scale penguin style. So we had one attempt to push higher. And a second attempt to push higher. I mean, pretty much to the tick. So I entered short here, put my stop up here, just on a sim, and just left it. Came back later and hit the bottoms. I put the bottoms as there. So I was chatting with Martin Kichak, a trader guy I know, trades more pats now. He's a nice guy, actually. And whenever I've been a bit low, he's one of these guys that just knows what to say. He's always got the right answer. He's pretty gifted with words as well. He's a bit of a wordsmith. And I was chatting with him last night about trading, about looking more at penguin style, because the thing about the penguin style, it's kind of bigger, more slower moves, a little bit more time to think about it. So for instance, this leg down, second leg down, he kind of waits for it to push above there, catches it on a limit order and gets out from the top. So I'm just looking at these, and as I say, yesterday I traded that on a sim just to see if it works. So what you probably wait for this to push back straight the way through the EMA and come back and pick something like that on a sim, say maybe something like that. And because of those big moves, I'd say you could probably even double up on that. So on a 2-to-1, where would that get you there? Yeah, so that would work. So we got this big leg down, one clear attempt to go higher, second clear attempt, and a failure. When that pushed strongly through the EMA and came back for a pullback, then you'd expect that to go down. So, I mean, you probably sort of grab this on a limit order as it pushed down, because obviously it went then, so you don't want to take it down here, but it came back on a limit order. So 36 ticks there, 18 ticks. You'd only really be wanting to trade that on one contract, so that will be the equivalent of a 9-tick risk with 2 points, which is $225. So it's not a lot of risk, but look at that. Big leg down, clearly 2 attempts to go higher, and as it fails. So I am looking more at these as well. I think you've got to keep your eyes and ears open, and Penguin is his style is very similar to Max, just slightly on a larger scale. So you imagine this, with 2 or 3 bars, it's really a second entry short. We've got a leg down, second entry short, and then down for another leg, and it worked perfectly. But the only trouble is you got to hold through these pullbacks. So you've got to trade, that's 8 points. So if you were trading one contract, the pullback is $400. So it's not a major chip into your trading drawdown. I mean, if you were doubling or tripling that, then it would be a bit of an issue. But yeah, leg and then down. So I do like Penguin style. I think the guy's very clever. He's very good at what he does. So I am paying attention to those as well. So possibly 2 legs up there, but we have sort of bounced off the overnight highs, so I'm not sure about whether this is a big channel with a break. But what I will say is this smaller channel here, spike in a smaller channel, we've had already breaking a new low, so it could go up. But it's not very clear at the moment. We have got tops up here which we've come off of, so I think there's a good chance we get lower. But I think it's definitely worth adding extra strings to your bow, because if there isn't many setups for pats, you've got to do something. You can't just sit there and not take any setups. Anyone recommend Mark Douglas? I'll tell you what's good. I've listened to some of it. I tend to listen to audio books, so Best Loser Wins is a good one, I think, because that's something a lot of people struggle with. Trouble is, going short there, you're going to short into overnight highs. Yeah, Mark Douglas is a good book. But Trader Psychology, Best Loser Wins, I think, is a good one. But there's probably loads out there. I used to have about 20 on my Audible that I used to listen to from when I started trading. The thing I like about Audible is you can just snap your earbuds on. I go out and sit in the garden sometimes in the summer, pour myself a whiskey, go and sit in the garden, get a bit of a suntan, slap the earbuds on, and listen to something. So are we going up or are we coming down? Tough one. Trouble is, I'm not comfortable with going short into there. I don't know how comfortable I am going long either. Let me just adjust that to there. I think that's safer. We've had a break and a new low, so we could go up. We're pushing up, pushing a bit sideways. Is there a larger channel down there? It kind of fits. It looks like a two-tiered channel, that does, doesn't it? See what happens here, though, because if you get it wrong... Now that looks, it's like it's bouncing off overnight highs there. Let's have a look. What I will say is NQ looks a bit clearer. That looks like a nice channel with a break, and I think it's likely we're going to push lower here. Unfortunately, whenever it does that, sometimes it just comes down and we get nothing. Keeps flashing, that does. Give us a little pullback, come on. Still got to be aware of these tops. Okay, folks, I was messing around with this Rhythmic and that for a while before I started, so I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break, make a quick cup of tea. Hopefully this will sort itself out and I'll be back 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Right. Leg and a leg, I reckon. Leg. That will take us down to these lows. There is some support along there. You can see it there. So if we can bounce off that, we may get something there. Maybe a triple test or something. At least the thing's moving today anyway. Okay, first entry. See if we can get up here again. Not sure I like what's happening on this at the moment. So we've had a channel down here and a break, and we've passed these lows. So is there something larger here? Yeah, it could be. So on that NQ we need to push up here. We're down here on the NQ, so same here, so we need to get up here really. Hey Thomas, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, pretty much going to push below that. I'll push up here really. It's been rough recently, but I'm trying my best. Yeah, you and me both, mate. It has been tough lately. Setups, I mean, you go back a couple of years, it's like a different... There was so many setups around there. I think I was averaging 2 to 3 trades a day on a lot of days. So obviously COVID, I'm assuming it was COVID, created obviously a lot of volatility in the market. So I think the not that we want another COVID, of course, but I think it created a lot of volatility in the markets, and it seemed to up the setups. So I gather. It's just nothing here really. You can't really take that. You're going into support, although I'd expect that to get stopped out. To me, it's a weak position to go long, but the trouble is if it comes down here, breaks below, it's too far from the EMA really. If you're going to short, you want that bar touching here and the body up here somewhere really to have a safer short. You just don't know whether that's going to work or not. Not only that, at the moment, if this is a channel, you're right down at the bottom of this now. We don't know it's going to drop out. It could come back up here for another couple of legs before it comes down. Not only that, on the NQ, we have broken the lows of the day. Let's see if there's a couple of legs here. I think there probably is, which we're actually there now, I think. Yeah, so leg and a leg. So we're kind of at this bottom area at the moment. At least it's moving. I kind of like it when it's flickering like this. It creates a bit more movement, a bit more money flowing in the markets, and hopefully a little bit more in the way of a setup or setups. So we've made a new low for the day, so that two measured legs are paid out. See if you can get a low here, and the market's playing the games. I mean, you could get a lovely move down there, really. If we had a lower high there, let's say that ticked above there. I mean, to get a move like that, I mean, Christ, I'll be happy with that once a month, to be honest with you. If I could get 17.5 points, I'd take that once a month. 2 contracts. Happy days. So right to the bottom of this channel. It's fitting 1, 2, 3, 4 perfectly there. Clearly 2 legs down. But now we've got an overshoot. What looks like an overshoot. Anyway, measured legs played out. Looks like an overshoot. So whether it'll push up a bit, come down and then reverse in that direction, remains to be seen. So a little micro trend up with a break and a new high. Are we coming lower? Oof. I'm going to wait on this one because that NQ's had what looks like an overshoot. And if that NQ does, it may come down a touch and then rocket off. So I'm staying out of this. Still fitted in this channel for me, and we could get a couple of legs up there, but looking at that NQ, let's have a look. We've got a touched a few times there, touched a couple of times there, and now we've had a bit of an overshoot. We clearly made a new low. 2 bigger legs have played out, measured legs played out with an overshoot. Is this going to reverse, or is it going to try and come a bit lower, or is there something larger there? Who knows? But my thoughts about going short at the moment are non-existent. Now, we've at the bottom of the channel, we've come right to the top of the channel. Technically, that's the second entry short. But I just don't like what I'm seeing on that NQ. Let me just see if there's a slightly different channel there. Yeah, I mean, there is a second entry short. Well, there's a couple of legs up. Looks like it's coming down the NQ, but it's a million miles from that EMA. There may be a smaller channel there with a leg, but that's just too far to take a short from the EMA, really. There's nothing there, to be honest. As bearish as it looks, I just can't get involved in something there. Measured legs played out. We broke the lows of the day, and we have bounced off it, so it could trigger you, trap you and go long, or it may come down. It's just one of these areas because of the measured legs played out and because of what looks like an overshoot on the NQ. It's just one of those areas, really. The safest option is to just stay out of this. Could trigger it and then go like that. In fact, it's triggered 2 legs up. It's triggered that bearish bar there by a tick or two, and it looks like it's reversing. That, to me, to take a short there anywhere like that, 2 legs up, is just too far from that EMA. Now, it may work, but after that overshoot, my concern will be that's going to get stopped out. And if it breaks above there, it's likely to hit that EMA. I'll be amazed if it doesn't stop that out, but there we go, we'll see. It is pretty bearish at the moment, so I'm just sitting tight. There is a lower high there. God, that's tempting. I mean, if you were just looking at this chart, I mean, the trouble is it's 12 ticks. It's 3 points. Tick above, tick below. It's $350. It's no. That's if you eat. Well, I mean, look at that. That's even if it triggered you. I wouldn't want to risk $350 times 10, $3,500 on that. I'd want to get it on a limit order coming back, and it didn't really. It just crossed over, came down. I mean, that's fitting really nice, I've got to say. As far as channels go, it's pretty nice looking one, but it's just, I don't want to risk 350 quid times 10. And that NQ is a bit confusing. Leg down with a break, leg down. You took the lower high. Yeah, if I was trading on a single account maybe or an evaluation, I'd have taken it all day long, but I'm not trading 10 accounts with an overshoot, and it's just too big really. Trading 10 accounts, see, it's $350 tick above, tick below. That's $3,500 potential loss on something that is already giving me alarm bells. The bit that's got me confused, that'd be like going short here. And I wouldn't go short here. The fact that it came down is irrelevant. But for me, touch. For me, it looks like a channel, and that looks like an overshoot of the bigger channel. It's a possibility. I think it's a good possibility. And then we went up and went sideways. So I wouldn't go short there because it's sideways, because we could have a leg up and then another leg up. And you see how it triggered that and started to push. If that had got above there, it would have got to this. And then that lower high might not have worked. So when it pushed up and goes sideways, normally push up, sideways, push up. It's like a mirror image. But I don't like what I'm seeing here. The measured legs played out. The bigger measured legs played out. So to assume it's going down for me, what overshoot? That looks to me like an overshoot of this. Let's take that away originally. That's what I saw. Touch there, sort of a touch here, a few touches there, couple of touches there. That for me looked like an overshoot. And in a lot of cases, overshoot will come back, go down, make a new low, and then shoot off in that direction. So taking a short here, when this is like this, I'm not sure what's going on. I wouldn't take a short here because it could go off in the other direction. So that's what kept me out of that. I'm not saying it was a bad trade, but for me, it's a possible overshoot because it's also fitting in there as well. I mean, that doesn't look any better. Touch, fits perfect. But you don't know whether we're going to have a leg and another leg, and you may just come back a little bit higher and retest this because of that overshoot. It's just, I don't know, perhaps I'm being a bit overcautious. Trouble is, setups have been hard lately, and it is confusing. So that I wouldn't mind taking, but not for a 350, not for 3.5 points of risk, which is what it'd be with a tick above and a tick below. If you can get it on a limit order, then yeah, it's worth taking. No, the NQ's not the ES, but what you'll find, if you watch these, I don't know, you may be doing this years, but what I find is if the NQ goes up, this follows it and vice versa. They kind of work in correlation to each other. Have a look at this. Yeah. The trouble is, you've got to just watch this thing like a hawk and make very quick decisions. And if there's any doubts, I tend to just stay out of it. So we got a leg and a leg. Actually, we've bounced off the bottom there now. So we got a leg down and a leg down. That's ironic, isn't it? Look. If that came back a little bit, I wouldn't have minded having to go on a limit order there. But it just dropped over and carried on down relatively speedily. Trouble is, because there's not been a lot of setups lately, when something does appear, you're kind of a little bit in disbelief. Is this too good to be true? Sometimes if you can almost get out of the swing of taking trades. I've taken about 3 trades in the last 2.5 weeks. So, yeah, you can sort of get out the swing of things where you get a little bit nervous about taking a setup because it's like, is this real? You know what I mean? It's like anything. The less you see, the more you surprise you are when you do see something. So I almost feel like I'm out of the swing of it. And all I can say is I'll just continue, continue. And then hopefully we may get a day where I can get a couple of setups and you get that little bit of a lift. But, if you're taking regular setups and you're winning trades, you're on top of the world. Everything feels fantastic. You can't do wrong. You can look into the future and see where you're going to be, what you're going to be earning, all this. And all of a sudden you get a dry spell and it's just, you start to think, is it me? Where have all the setups going to go? What do I do? And I think all you can do is just keep continuing to do the same thing and hopefully you'll get out of it. So this for me is not a place to go short because that measured leg is played out and you can clearly see we've built up some resistance there. So I guess probably we may get a break here. We may come down and retest the lows and then maybe reverse. It's hard to say, but it's actually a really nice channel. But every time we've come down to the bottom there, the bottom there, the bottom there, the bottom there, we've had 2 legs down and we've come from a distance here, so we've lost momentum. So for me, we're going to have a break. Now, these are the ones, sometimes they can catch you out. Sometimes it'll break, come straight down. Other times it'll break, give you a little short, trap you, push up for another leg, go sideways, drop out the top, drop out the bottom, and then eventually work the way around. It just doesn't play by the same game the ES used to play 2-3 years ago. Setups used to be a lot more reliable. They were a lot more clear. Now there's so many more traps. Why that is, I don't know. Whether it's to do with You know, these I believe a lot of these traders now, these institutional traders, trade on algorithms. The algorithms, you know, have the algorithms got better? Are they picking off weak positions? I don't really know. When you're a retail trader and you're not in the, you know, the general, you're not in the general sort of, you know, markets, you don't understand what's going on so much. We're really on the sidelines, aren't we? So you don't know whether this is going to break, trigger a short, and push up for another leg, then just go all the way around around the mountain just to get to where we pretty much have got a good idea we're going to get to. Ordinarily it'd be tempting, but it's congested there, so that might work and it might not. But it could come up, trigger you, and push up. Looks like it might do that, so I'm staying out of this one, to be honest with you. There's always the possibility it ain't going to come down. It could just have such a lot of resistance, it just goes up from there. But I would say, and I hear Thomas Wade talking about this a lot, he always expects a retest of the lows when you have a channel. And in all fairness, I've got no questions whatsoever that this is a valid channel. Perfect touch, perfect touch, perfect touch. Perfect, 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 perfect. Visually looks good. Fits perfectly. So for me, that is a perfect channel down. So Thomas Wade will always expect a new low. But where it comes, whether it comes from here or leg and a leg, then sideways, then up, then down, and from then on, it's hard to say. At the moment, we've had a push up and it's clearly congested. So we could get a leg sideways and a leg, a little bull flag, and then work our way down. I don't know. Or you could consider this a triple test. I've taken these triple tests before like this, thinking, okay, 1, 2, 3. There's a probably going to be some shorts there, and it's stopped me out. Although I can sort of work out what's going on, it's still congested. Looking at that NQ, it does look like this could work down from there, but best thing to do is just to sit tight here. So there is some possible stops. If it does get below there, then that may be the momentum to the lows. This may be it. We'll see. Trouble is, this could turn really quickly. But the NQ does look. Yeah, it is. The NQ looks a little bit clearer. We sort of got two legs, and we're clearly working under there. So I think this. I like the way it's ticked above that long there. So you could say there's a bit of a failure there, and it's triggering it and come down. So it's a little bit more clear on the NQ. Doesn't often do that up, sideways and straight down. So many times it messes around. So we've made a new low by a tick on the NQ, but not on the ES as of yet. There is a failure there, but going short into all that support is risky. Okay, we've made 1, 2, 3, 4 matching lows. So I think that was certainly an option. It's just the bar was a little big for me, and we never got a pull back for a chance to get in on a limit order, and it looked a bit congested on the NQ, so he may have even not got filled there, to be honest with you. We pushed across, pushed up. If you'd have had a limit order, it may not even cut your order. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing legged it up. Okay, have we got something larger? There may be something, another channel brewing here. Just, I couldn't bring myself to go short there because one, it's a little bit sideways, and two, there's such a lot of resistance there. You don't know whether it's going to trigger and push up. It's so hard. Valuation, yeah, I would have done. Okay. So we've got this leg down clearly. One attempt to go higher. Possible second attempt to go higher. I think they've extended the offer as well. Have a look. I've not heard anything, but I've looked on the website and they've extended the offer. Have a look. Yeah, for another 4 days, 90% off and 1 day to pass for the 4 days. I think this is going to become inevitable, I think. I'm assuming because they've had the problems. I haven't changed my thing, have I? Excuse me a second. 4 days, so is it the 3rd, isn't it? So it'll be the 3rd. 3rd of June. Okay. Oh, lads, were you caught in that Rhythmic? Yeah, mate. I've got 19 accounts at the moment. Excuse me. So I picked up a 250 and a 50k, and that one seemed to be okay, but that one shot up in the direction that I wanted it to, and then for some reason turned into a sell order. So I don't know what's gone on there, but I was tempted to delete it, but they did say they'd sort them out tomorrow, so we'll see. But yeah, I am wondering, Tech, if it's to do with the news, people trading the news, all of a sudden that big influx of orders and the fast movement, because it happened the same yesterday when there was a news event. I noticed some of the comments. There was a guy showing a picture of a 250 accounts, and they were up $16,000, and that to me looks like a news trade. So, God, I don't know what's going on here. So yeah, I wonder if it is because the news, when obviously something can't cope with it. I don't know what's going on here. So there is kind of a second. I don't know when I'm going up. You blew your 250 the same way. Was that closed trade automatically went short? Correct. Yeah, I noticed. The top right you can see here, because I think I did the 250 one on the NQ. The ES one was all right. It kept opening a trade. So when you get the blue boxes pop up and then the pink boxes, it kept opening a trade, closing a trade, opening a trade, closing a trade. I can imagine how scary it is if it's PAs. I mean, if you were trading, you wouldn't trade PAs in the news anyway, but I can imagine getting into PAs. It must be pretty scary. When you get all these new PAs, where you trade in Pats in EVA. I've got 19 of them, so I just wanted one more. So I thought I'd have a go at a 250, and I thought I'd get not a full amount of that, but just enough, and the 250 just to top it off. So I thought I'd have a go at the news, and then just to top me off with 20 accounts. I did have 20, but I made a mistake of about, was it earlier on in the week? I clicked at the moment. If you see here at the moment, I've deleted everything. I went to take, it was on one of my large accounts, I went to take a one contract. So I opened it up, and I've got some that says 1 and C and some that says 10. I'd obviously selected the 10 one, and when I opened it, it was such a nice trade. Let's have a look. It was a trade I took a couple of days ago. It was that one there. Was it that one there? No, it wasn't. I liked the trade. I forget where it was now. Oh, it was here. I liked the trade. We had a nice channel down there. So as soon as I opened it, I noticed it was 10 contracts, and I didn't know what the hell to do. But look how nice it fits. All the way down. Really nice. Then we had a leg up with a break and a lower high. You see that set up there? exactly the same as the setup today. I can't see any difference with it. Clearly a channel down. Little micro up there. Sorry, there. Little micro with a break, a new high, lower high, worked perfectly. So yeah, I like the trade that much, and I thought it's only one account, and you make a quick decision. I thought if I stay in it, and it gives me 2 points, that'll be $1,000, and it'll get that account above. So I didn't know what to do, so I kind of held. I couldn't make my mind up because I was kind of in it, and then it started to go, and then it pulled back a little bit, and I thought, oh crap, and then it started to go in my favour, so I thought I'll just let it go, and it started coming back, and I didn't know what the hell to do, so in the end I moved my stop, which is something I haven't done for 3 months. So I'm so frustrated because it's 3 times I've done that now. Twice it's cost me, the once it hasn't. So I was chatting with a guy called Chris the other night, and he said in the end he made that mistake so many times he went into his ATM strategies and deleted every one of them. And I must have had 30 in there. The trouble is, if you're looking at where it says 1C, one contract, and 10, at quick glance, it's very easy to select the wrong one. And then all of a sudden you're in and you don't know what the hell to do. So I've just deleted everything. So I can't accidentally. So when I traded the news era, I just click custom and then I can set it whatever I want. But I can't accidentally because it's 3 times I've done it now, and you'd have thought I'd have learnt by now, but I'm clearly pig-headed and I didn't. So nice to find you talking about issues this morning. It was so frustrating. Yeah, it is. Could not flat, lost 2 evals. Could only watch. Yeah. I don't know about you, mate, but I'm just wondering, it's got to be because of the news, isn't it? No ATMs for news, it will always backfire. Oh, there you go. Well, to be honest with you, I did it the other day. Worked perfectly. Did it a few days before. Worked perfectly. But for some reason, yesterday and today, something hasn't, whether something's changed or it's just happened to be unfortunate. It's hard to say. But I think news trading with evaluations is quite a popular form of passing them because it happens in a second, doesn't it? But yeah, something doesn't like something. So I just wanted to top off for the 20, so I thought I'll get a 250 and see if it works, and I'll get a either or. But if it has happened to you, don't delete them. I've made the mistake before deleting them. They will reset them tomorrow. It's just frustrating because that one I think would have worked. I don't know, or it would have been close. But it's just, and I couldn't sign back into NinjaTrade then, and I noticed it was just they were going red and then off, and they were kept popping up pink boxes and blue boxes, and I was just thinking, thank God that's not my PA account. So I think from now on, I think I might just avoid the news. Until they sort this out. Mind you, Karina, I'm sure Karina read that they're going to try and sort this out over the weekend so that it won't happen again, whether they can or not. You think they'd have already done it by now, but it is a bit scary, I've got to say. So, is this a fail break out of here? Are we coming down, or is this just going to bounce? I mean, we've had this channel, haven't we? Really nice looking channel. We've had a break and a new low. We've come back and retested it another couple of times. So now are we pushing up? I wouldn't be surprised. Rhythmic has confirmed a brief interruption. May 30th, they confirmed disruptions between 9:15 affected accounts and the positions. Yeah, I wonder, Karina, whether it is because of the news, because there's so many positions going in, and you've got all those positions coming in, and really fast movement. So I don't know whether it is to do with something, is to do with the news or not. But I don't know why Rhythmic has sorted these out by now. I don't know, are there any other options that Apex can, enlist? Okay, there is a lower high there. I'm staying out of this. I'm not sure. We have tested this bottom a bunch of times, so we could change direction here. I'm not sure. So let's have a look. So we've had this channel. We've had a break of it, small break with a new high and a lower high. We've come back to the EMA. So leg down. I'd be waiting for a higher low here if I was going to go long. I mean, we've had a clear break of this, and we've had 1, 2 pushes down. We've had a break, 1, 2 clear pushes down, and a retest. It's very tempting, that. I mean, it could be a channel down with a correction and then some more in the way of downward stuff. Let's have a look. It's like 1 leg down. Well, I've got it as a leg, and also if you look back yesterday, leg and a leg. It's a perfect measured leg. So we've had 2 big legs down, and we've also had a leg down from there to there, and that leg's played off as well, followed by 2 more legs. We've also, I like the way that's trapped that short. We've also had a break and 2 clear pushes down to a new low and another retest. So this could go up in that direction, or it may come down some more. We could just have a correction, and then I got no idea. Oh, you know about this leg? Oh, yeah. I wouldn't have got in here anyway. For me, it would that about to trigger, and it would have been a higher low, because you just never know. The low, I got you. Yeah. So you don't know whether this is... I mean, it could be 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go off earlier, and then down some more. Nothing would surprise me. Volume, it's all right. It's all right. I was looking at the CL thinking, my God, the volume's low. I think about hardly any. It's low. And then I've just noticed I'm on the 2000 tick chart, so... That's a better looking channel. That's a nice looking channel on the CL. Look, it's weird how it's working. Very similar to the ES today, isn't it? You had that same sort of thing. It's working very similar. Touch. That bearish bar actually confirmed it was a 2nd entry short, and it confirmed that channel, and that worked nice. We had a little bit of a scary pullback first, but that worked down nice. 1 leg, 2 legs up, nothing really there. It's hard to know what the hell's going on here. Possible second entry short. Oh, I don't know what's going on here, so I'm just not getting involved here. Bar's too big for a start. I'm not risking $425 on there. No distance to the lows anyways. Just, there's no way. It's a no-brainer that. You just can't take that. There's a couple of ticks to the lows if you're lucky, and it's a 15-tick bar. Tick above, tick below. $400 risk on 2 contracts. What's a chance? I mean, we could continue to come down some more, but you don't know that. That's exactly right, Chad. Exactly right. They've just almost disappeared. It's as if someone's feeded Pat's setup into a database and it's gone, okay, any trades that's taken previously, block. Isn't it really? I don't know why it does it. I'd love to know. Is it, to do with algorithms getting smarter? I got no idea. Is it to do with just the way things are? Is it just shit luck? I got no idea. I really haven't got any idea why it is. I wish I did. I really wish I did. I wish someone could give us the answer why setups which we previously get 2, 3 or 4 comfortably 2 years ago, we rarely get now. I wish I knew the answer. What I'll say is some setups that I have seen seem to be a lot more advanced. Let's see, there was one the other day, I didn't even notice it myself. It was a bit congested, so I stayed out of it. But they are a little bit more riskier trades. Maybe you need to be a bit more experienced. But I can't seem to find them at the moment. And when I do, the trouble is, when you notice them after the fact, when you know it worked, it's easy to say, okay, there was one there, but ultimately you never know. Can you take anything there? Not really. If you took that, it's congested. You don't know whether it's going to trigger you and come back up and stop you out for a second leg and then come down. So there's so many ifs and buts. Trouble is, when you say that and we go sideways, it's very hard to believe that we could come down some more. But we certainly could. Could be something larger there. That could be a leg. We really, sometimes when you think it can't go any lower, you come back here later and we're down here. It's hard to say. You had a problem. Yeah, I did, bud. We had the same issues with Rhythmic. They said not to trade. So it's just too risky. In fact, let me just have a quick look on the daily, see if the daily shedded any light on this. There we go. Okay, so here's the daily. So we know we had that massive big load of buy, and then we had a break, push up new high, and we had multiple touches, and we've had a drop down. We've pushed through the EMA. So are we going to come back and test it or test the top? I got no idea. Have you thought of trading one system? I kind of look, mate, to be honest with you. I have followed a little bit from time to time the penguin style of trading. For instance, we got a leg down, 2 attempts to go higher and a failure. I don't think it's a bad trade there. So yeah, I am kind of looking. In fact, I better get rid of that in case it comes back to haunt me. I am kind of looking sometimes, though. What I will say is these new trades, when you learn to understand the markets a bit and read the markets, and I have done over the last few years, I think it's easy to adapt it to other setups. So there are certain scenarios that I see that I would take a setup outside Pat's. For instance, whenever we get these, we haven't had a lot lately, whenever we get these sort of double channels here, wherever you get a bullish bar and a downtrend, you short it there, it crosses over, comes down, and vice versa. But I haven't seen a great deal lately. What I call a double channel, it's slightly more, slightly wider than, like a short-term trend. This type of thing, this type of channel seems to work really well. So I call that a spike and channel. Now, if we get a bearish bar in here, which finishes close to its lows, it kind of crosses over. There's one there. That one didn't. That one didn't. That's not too bad. Close to its lows. Crossed over. Came down a couple of ticks and went up. And same again, that one. Crossed over. Came down 2 or 3 ticks and went up. Now, I would take a long right at the bottom there. 2-point risk, 2-point profit. But we don't seem to be getting. That's what I call a single channel. And then something a little bit dark, a little bit. So maybe one sort of there. Nothing really in there. But same again here. Here's a good example. Little channel there. We're coming down. Bullish bar. If you shorted there, crossed over, came down for your 2 points. If it didn't, it came back, triggered, came down for your 2 points. But in a little channel like that, what I call a double channel, as opposed to, like a short-term trend channel where we just got bars going in one direction, whenever we seem to get a bar in the other direction, so I consider it a little pullback if you just short there. It's actually quite accurate. But you've got to get almost, there's just not been a lot lately. You know what, you get the general gist anyway. I was just trying on a sim for a while and noticed it's really accurate. There was 3 and 1 push down a few weeks ago. But yeah, so I am trying to sort of add some extra setups to my, I think you have to. Some extra setups to my, extra strings to my bow. You have to. If you just sit on the same strategy. Now, if I'm getting 2 to 3 trades a day, there's no need to look elsewhere. But Pats is really struggling. There are setups, but not many, and they do seem quite advanced ones where I think experience really counts. And also Penguin style as well, where we get a leg down and we get 2 clear attempts to go higher and then a push through the EMA. He tends to short there and then come out at the bottoms. So I'm watching him as well. Let me just have a look at this a minute. I think we're ranging a little bit here. Yeah, with the exception of the breakout here and a small one here, we seem to be going sideways there at the moment.
Order submitted.
Possible setup on the NQ. No, I don't like
Order cancelled.
So I was just looking at this. Channel down a little break. I like the way it, we got a sort of little push and a little sideways, so it's more of a hidden second entry top. I like the way it triggered that. So that was tempting, but think it's more one leg, really, isn't it? No, I'm just leaving that at the moment. Just wondering whether we've got a bigger channel. Is this a larger channel on the NQ? Just clean up some of these. It's hard to say, isn't it? We've got a touch here, then a touch there, and another touch and another touch. Quite nice there. Or have you looked at trading the London Open instead and seeing if... I haven't actually, mate, to be fair. Perhaps I should do, because that's sort of more my time zone, isn't it, as well? Don't even know how to get it. What is it, the FTSE, is it? Is it the FTSE? Don't even know where to find the damn thing, to be honest with it. Oh, have I got to change my... I've got to change my data here. Trading hours. I think I've got to change my data overnight. Let me just take a photo of that so I'll make sure I put the right one back. Still a yes from 8 AM. UK time. Oh, you're on about trading the ES in the mornings? It's dead, mate. Dead as a dodo. If that's what you mean. I mean, this is 9 o'clock UK time. We've had that overnight. Obviously, you'd have to... I suppose you could trade maybe the 1 minute chart. My God, that thing just changes, doesn't it? There's the minute chart there. This today, is it? I don't know what's going on there. Look at that. Lovely second entry short there. Look like a treat. You'd have to trade something like this, really. I thought you meant actually, like the FTSE or something like that. Failure worked. Fact, that setup on the CL worked, actually. I think it would do. We got the channel down here with a break. Bearish bar. I like the way it triggered above that. That actually worked. Stuff like that would just trap you on the... yeah, maybe. Maybe. I'm surprised that worked. I've got to say, the CL does look like the ES used to a couple of years ago. Setup used to be pretty plain and obvious, and it used to work. Now there seems to be so much money, so many more traps. So that might be a correction, and we may continue on down, who knows. So we got a leg down. 1, 2 attempts to go higher. I did look at that, but I don't like how it finished. And not just that, you're close to these lows and it's choppy and sideways, and it's not a very big range to take trades in this unless you know what you're doing, or you can catch the top and bottom. What is it, 5.5 points? So taking something like that just below the middle, you just don't know, because we've just come off the bottoms. You don't know whether it's going to trigger it, trap you, and then push up to the top. That's any trade I can see. At the time, I wasn't so sure about it. But when you see they work, it's one of those things. See, if that would have failed, see, with that trade there, Mac would mark that with a red arrow. If that would have failed, he wouldn't have done. So just because a trade fails, does it not mean it was still a good setup? I wonder if we're on the way down some more. No, I think it's probably best to assume this is going sideways leg, 2 legs up, 2 legs down. Fail breakout maybe. I don't like this. We've had what looks like a possible correction. Maybe we are coming down. I don't really want to go even think about going along here at the moment. Just seems so long since I've taken a trade. I took one a couple of days ago, just a single one on the CL. I'm assuming if you get another trade or two, you kind of get back into it a little bit. You get that nice feeling again. It's just a bit frustrating that I've managed to get all these accounts finally after the last 2 years, and all of a sudden I've got no sodding trades. Nothing to do. What do you do here? There's going to be some shorts there, surely. Is this trapping some shorts? Was it coming down? What I will say is the fact that it popped above here and dropped quite rapidly. I just can't bring myself to going along. If you look at the NQ, look what's happening. We're just continuing to daisy chain down. So going along would be trying to pick a bottom, but this is more sideways. There's going to be some shorts trading that for sure. I was just thinking if we could trigger that and get a higher low here, with some stops there. You may get a move back up to that EMA, but sorry, to the midline. Trouble is, there's always a possibility there could be something larger coming down and then going long into this potential top of a downtrend. So it's just so hard to trade. It's, you know, I mean, it looks like it's ranging. What do you do in ranges? You buy the top, buy the bottoms, and short the tops. If you buy that, it might sting you. If you bought that, I think you're okay at the moment, but how long it'll last, who knows? See what happens here. I mean, you could say that was a high or low. I don't know whether I want to take that. It could trigger you up, come down some more. Could be a second entry short. Yeah, there you go. Triggers the bull bar, comes straight down. See, this to me looks like it is starting to work down, but I've been involved in stuff like this before, and you get short and all of a sudden, woof, up it goes, and it's just a failed breakout. So you just got to be so careful. Could really do anything. Not just that, prices are still under the EMA comfortably on the NQ. So that's telling me it's more likely to go down as well. No, he doesn't. I wish he would. The trouble is, it's almost like saying every single setup that you see Mac marking is a good setup. It's a high probability trade when it's not really. If there was that many high probability trades, he would be taking them. I know he said to me in the past he takes 2 to 3 trades a day. So if there was really a dozen, why isn't he taking them? That's my only slight gripe I have. Don't get me wrong, I like Mac. I think he's an absolute gentleman. He's done a lot for traders. And he's helped me in more than I can ever imagine, more than I can ever say. But doesn't mean to say you can't, disagree with certain, ways things happen and all that. We're entitled to our opinion. But I wish he would maybe talk about this one looked good, but that's the reason it fell. I'd love to hear him get in a little bit more. I'd love to see him. Okay, there is a second entry short there. I wouldn't take that because of this. It does look tempting. He doesn't seem to talk about anything that, that traders need to be aware of. So it's just one of those things. See, perhaps half the time he's not even aware of them because he doesn't even look at them in that way anymore. So that clearly works. But how can you take that really when it's going sideways? Most breakouts fail. We've had a breakout out the top. We've had a breakout at the bottom. You don't know whether it's going to fail. What can you do? I've taken trades like this before, concentrating on them going low, and all of a sudden it triggers you, pushes up and stops you out. But there is an element of risk in trading, and I don't know, maybe I've just upped my risk, lowered my risk tolerance a bit. Maybe I'm being a little bit overcautious. I'm trying to think about, what am I being overcautious? But then I keep hearing lots of people say they're struggling with setups. There's not a lot, so maybe I'm not. I'd certainly rather be on the air of overcaution than careless. But does that mean you miss a few trades? I'd certainly rather miss them than take losses, really. But when you know people like Thomas Wade and Marco and that are trading, I mean, even Penguin's trading the NQ as well. It just tells you if there was enough setups on their normal trading platform, their normal trading chart, they wouldn't need to look elsewhere. So it's not just me. And as I said earlier, when you don't take a trade for a while, you almost sort of get out of practice of making that decision. And then when you do see a setup, you're kind of thinking and looking at other charts and questioning it. Does this look right? What's wrong? Why am I seeing a good setup? And before you know it, I mean, that one there moved quite quick anyway, so you may not have even got in that, but it crossed over. It crossed over and ticked up before it broke it, and then it just didn't stop. So you may not have even got in there. Trouble is, when you see a break like this and it starts to come down slowly, it's very hard. You keep suspicious of it going down because you think after a break like this, it can't continue down anymore. When theoretically it can do. It could come right down here. But when you see that with a break, you're naturally thinking in the opposite direction, so you're very suspicious of any short trades. I mean, that one I think is very risky anyway, because you can clearly see there is a lot of support over there, but it depends how you see it. If you're not seeing that, then maybe it isn't. But I think it is safe to say there is some support certainly there. But I think you've got to support. It's extendable, isn't it? Things bounced a couple of days ago, so I think you have to be aware that we've got to push up. You don't know whether it's going to trap some shorts there and push up. So it's just one of those. Once you get that thought in your head, it's very hard to get rid of it. Is this coming down? Or we've gone sideways and we've got a break, and I have that voice in my head. Most breakouts fail. Then all of a sudden we get a strong push up, triggers and comes down and finishes there. And I'm thinking, are we coming down, or is it going to trigger you and push up? And the same again, it leads to staying out the trade. And then you've got this about the support to the left. So many different decisions and thought process. Your thought process is flicking through your mind. I'll let me some back and watch about his videos. I can't remember him I know, yeah. I wish he would. I think it's important. That's why I started watching Thomas Wade initially, because he was probably one of the only streamers or YouTubers that showed videos of his losses, because I like to hear his reaction to his losses, how he went a little bit quiet, and because it does help you. Because sometimes we see people like Mac and we put these guys on a pedestal and think they're amazing traders, they never take losses, and if I take a loss, then I'm somehow inferior. So you get all these little, because it's such an emotional business, you get all these little things going around in your head, doubts, because there's so much in the way of failures learning to trade. It's very hard to have confidence in belief in yourself that you're even seeing things. I see these trades and I think, nah, it must be me. It can't look that good. Something's not right. And you question it, and before you know it, it's moved on, and then Mac marks it, Thomas Wade marks it, and every other man and his dog marks it, and you're thinking, why didn't I take it? But you do kind of get out the practice. If you don't take a trade for a while, it's very easy to feel uneasy about taking a trade. I have been through a phase before where I didn't take a lot, but then all of a sudden you get a good week, you take 2 trades one day, 1 trade the next, and you're up $1,000 for the week, and all of a sudden those previous thoughts and the bad market is almost disappeared until the next time. So but But it is important to listen to other. That's why I kind of, like you. That's why I kind of chat, because hopefully the things that go through your head are the things that go through mine as well. So sometimes you feel like it's not just the way you're thinking. Everyone's thinking that way. I mentioned on Nutty's stream the other day that I'd taken over 500. I was expecting a load of shocked faces, but then someone said to me, "Is that it?" Someone had over 1,200, loads over 600, loads 7 and 8. Even Nutty had taken more than me. So sometimes you realise you think it's just you, but it's really not. See, is this a channel or am I seeing things? I kind of like the way it's working on the midline. Are we? Because you think after this, a bunch of tests and a drop, are we now going to start moving in the other direction? So you're scared to take a trade. I mean, at the moment, it's clearly working down. So taking a long here isn't the most sensible thing to do. Doesn't mean it won't work. But the bias at the moment is down. There's no arguing there. Just keep trying to think, is this a larger channel there? Has anybody had Max Thru yet? Is there a channel like that? Not sure. We got a channel down. Is this a break? Is there a second entry short? Are we trapping the longs? But then straight away it's congested and it's possibly a bull flag, which means it could go higher. Not only at the moment, looking on that NQ, we've had a break, we've had multiple pushes down, we've had a bounce off the bottom, got a big strong bullish bar there. So are we going up? So you may take that, but then you're saying to yourself, well, okay, it's congested though, and it's off the bottom of this, so surely it can't go down, can it? There's just nothing you can do there, unfortunately, really. Is it going to come down? Possibly. But see, it's working really nice along that midline. Then we had a couple of drops below it, so you'd expect a break, which we've had. But are we going to have a leg and another leg, and then eventually it's going to work its way down? There's a measured leg there as well. We've got a leg down, like a correction, followed by another leg down. So now, are we trapping some shorts and we're going up? So there was a bullish bar there. You're thinking push up, yeah, a little bit of a pullback, nice strong bullish bar, trapping the shorts, we're going up. You get triggered, come down, stops you out, and then half the time it goes in that same direction. Or are we going to get trapped again? And then is there going to be a lower high? There's so many different questions that go through your head when you're looking at this. And if there's a slight bit of congestion, that tends to sort of rule the roost. Well, I can't take it now because there's congestion regardless of what I'm seeing. Excuse me just a second. Sorry about that. Okay, the only thing I can really see is that. Nothing there really, nothing there. I don't know whether you'd have taken that one. It's a bit early, I think. Push up to a new high, try to go once, try twice fairly, I don't know. Bit sideways, bit choppy. Just coming in. Is Rhythmic working? Seems to be, mate. Yeah, I've not had a problem. It seems to be fine. Apex extended it. Yeah. I think they had to, really, didn't they? Because, you know, people were picking up evaluations during the last day and trying to trade the news today, and they end up getting stuffed. So I think they probably had to. I think they make plenty of money off it, in all fairness, anyway. But yeah, what have I put the third? I put the third. It's the fourth, is it? I'll change that then. Yeah, I'll change that. So it's the fourth. Thanks for that, Tech. I think they're out too, really, haven't they? I saw some people saying takes were being taken ultimately. Yeah, it was. Well, I traded these. I got 19 PAs, so I had to go at a couple here, and that one there, the 251, you could see I was trading that on the NQ, and the NQ all of a sudden would open trades and you'd flash up the blue boxes, and then it would close them, and then the pink ones would come in. It was going up, down, on and off, on and off. Now, it was only a $16 valuation, so it didn't really bother me, but if it had been happening with it had been a PA, I think my heart rate would have climbed a little bit. There is a second entry long there, but it's just congested, so you don't know whether we're going to have 1, 2, a triple test and trap some longs there. In fact, if that comes bearish, that might not be a bad short if we've had this. It's kind of like a triple test. Let's just get an order ready.
Order submitted.
See what the risk is.
Order cancelled.
Thought that maybe 1, 2, 3, a triple test, and then down we come. I think a lot of people were trading the news, so whether that clogs things up, it's hard to say. It's a shame that wasn't bearish because it's only 5 ticks. Once, twice, 3 times. I like the fact that it's trapped along there, and on the NQ, there's a second entry long there which is trapped, and that's kind of triple test. 1, 2, 3. There's going to be some longs in there quite likely. Pushed up, second entry long, which is triggered. So whether it does come down and breaks, if it breaks below there, then it'll come down to the bottom. But you just don't know, do you? I would suggest it probably will, which means this will come down below here and there. But the bar just wasn't really brilliant here. And it's a bit congested, which bumps the risk up as well a little. Excuse me. Taken one trade this week on one account. Or did I take one and got $50 out of it? I can't remember. Trouble is, when it is very choppy and messy like this, it's very hard to get confidence in your channels. You don't know whether there's something larger and you're missing it, which just makes you... The trouble is, if you've not got your channel right, you could be reading the chart wrong, and a trade could be a mistake. There's probably going to be some long stops below there, and quite likely there. If we can push down, then we should break those lows. I think the NQ is looking like it quite likely would. I mean, it is congested, so you never know, but there is a failure there, and you're trapping them long, trapping that second entry long. So if that get below there, it's a few ticks up away or a couple of ticks away, but will it hold whenever it's been down before and then it's pulled back? But it is congested, so it just... You may get trapped going short it, and it may all of a sudden rock up. But my gut, okay, yeah, I'm going to say my gut feeling it's going to come down below there, and it has, but that's tempting there.
Order submitted.
Let's see how this works out. Nearly below the bottoms now already. Mm. 10 ticks, $300 risk times 10.
Order cancelled.
No. Is it going to work? Possibly. But it is very congested and very whippy, and it could make you miserable. We're a few ticks away from the lows on the NQ. We've got quite a bit of a distance to go. So it might work, it might not, but you got to take into consideration this, that it's clearly congested, so it could really screw up your day. And the worst thing to do is to take a bad trade on a Friday. So it's triggered you now. Let's see what happens. But it's just, it's congested and choppy, so it's too dangerous in my opinion. Because it could come back and, well, there you go, look, straight away. If you're in that trade now, your arse will be twitching like a good one. We've already made a new low on the NQ, so that's played out. So is it going to come lower? If I was in that trade now, I think I'll be itching to get out of it. You just don't know. It could come down. There's nothing really apart from this channel with a break that's telling me this is coming down. It may well do, and it might not do. Is that channel valid? I don't think it's too bad, but I'm not filled with masses of confidence because there's also some sideways. But it's very choppy, kind of close together and wicky. So it really, if you didn't take that one, you may have taken that one and it's triggered you now. Is that going to come down? It could do, but it could also push straight back up, take that stop out and that stop out, and then there's your happy weekend. Happy relaxing weekend, not so happy and relaxing. Yeah, I don't think that's a safe trade, in all honesty. It is very choppy. Push up, pull back, trap it in some shorts, and then woof. So that to me is a risky trade. I think anyone will agree it is risky. Havana, how are you doing? 50 DMA is at 52.15. So you think we're coming down a bit lower? It's hard at the moment because it is, as well as slowly working down, it is very much sideways and very wicky and up and down and up and down. See, sometimes you take a short, triggers you, pushes up. Sometimes you take a long, triggers you, pushes down. Sometimes you take a short, triggers you, pushes up. It very much does that. You see a long, you jump in. If you're revenge trading, you see a long, you jump in, tick comes down. It does that all the time. Goes up, triggers inexperienced longs, comes down, stops them out. As it comes down, it triggers short, inexperienced traders, triggers you, pushes up, stops them out. It really does that. And sometimes when you're revenge trading, you're not thinking clearly. You just see a move up and you think, I'll get in. And you get in and it triggers you and stops you out, and it does that. It's a series of trapping shorts, stopping them out, trapping longs, stopping them out, and it very much is a series of that, really, especially when it's sideways, which is why it's so dangerous to trade when it's going sideways, especially if you don't know what you're doing. For me, it's just unclear. What I will say is it's more likely to break the lows, but when, that's the key. Guaranteed, if I get in here, it'll trigger me and stop me out. As soon as you do nothing, it just tends to work that way for some reason. So I think when it's like this, if you're unsure, you're always best to stay out, even if it means missing out on a trade. Much better to not take a trade than to take a loss. If you're not sure, you've got to be sure about what you're seeing and confident. Otherwise, it's just not worth it. So where was that trade there? So if you took that there, you'd have got 2 points off it, but it's just too risky for me. I know what I think it's going, but because it is so sideways, there's no guarantee it's going to stop me out, push a bit higher, leg up, and then drop. I know I go on about this again and again, but you've got to be so careful. I spent 3 years getting chopped around, taking bad trades, and now I just have to sit here. I just don't really take anything unless I see something good, and unfortunately, there's just not a lot around at the moment. In fact, I think I'm going to leave it there, folks. We've been going 2.5 hours now. It's just that's the only one I can see. In hindsight, it looks okay, but I just wasn't sure what I was seeing on that in Q. We played this measured leg out as well, so you've always got to take that into consideration. We broke the lows by a couple of ticks, played the measured move. You don't know whether we're going to have a decent pullback or a break. But not only that, you may not even got in there, because if you'd have held there with the limit order, it crossed straight over, pushed up a tick, and then just went. So you may have even missed it. But there's just not a lot, really. What's going on here? Is there something larger here? There may be. So when you see something like that, that all of a sudden adds a little bit more context to it. To learn that patience from you. That's why I'm here. Yeah, I just think patience comes with time. I used to be awful with patience. And you guys have been with me for the last sort of, 16, 17 months. My patience used to be awful. And the odd day I had a really good set of patience for 3 hours, I'd end up taking a stupid trade in the last 2 minutes. But the trouble is, you want to fight the market. You want to bully the market. I'm taking a trade here. I want it to work. And it does beat you around and absolutely overtrading. That is the killer to so many. And another thing that used to do me in, as soon as I took a loss, you guarantee within the next 30 seconds, I'd be straight back into a trade. And what the market's got a habit of triggering you, stopping you out, looking like it's going in the opposite direction, and then you jump in long after a short, and then it comes down and stops you out. So it's very quick. I don't know how many times I lost 2 trades within the space of a minute, and frustrates you, and that's when you tend to go on tilt. But over time, sitting here over time, the emotions slowly start to tone down. You can't have those same emotions affecting you exactly the same way again and again. It's impossible. You jumped out of a plane now, your emotions will be all over the place, but if you did every day for the next 2 years, it would start to be quite mundane. So the more you're exposed to those emotions, the less of an impact they'll have on your trading. And with experience and time and maturity, you'll start to sit back and get better at waiting. I still take stupid trades on the odd occasion. I misread something, or, sometimes the patience gets the better of me, but for the most time now, I'm much better at this. But it's taken me a lot of time. I've been trading Pats for 3 years. And I'm a little bit, my wife said, you look a bit down. She went, you haven't blown your accounts. I went, no, the one time I've managed to get nearly 20 and I've got no trades. So we have had times like this before. I'm just trying to think of some. Maybe we haven't had it this bad, but... And then all of a sudden, we'll get a week where there'll just seem to be quite a few trades. 2 months ago, I took 3 trades in 30 minutes, all absolute beauties. But there's a whole load of different elements. It's almost like a complicated puzzle list. And let's move it now. You start to slowly add all these little bits of the puzzle, and you start to create a picture that you can start to understand. And you get better at it. But it is like little baby steps, and it looks so easy, and you want it to happen overnight, and you fight the market and you throw money at it, but ultimately you realise all that does is just creates a hell of a lot of stress for you. But this is something people can't really teach you. They can show you the basics, they can guide you, but ultimately, it's like a skill you learn with your hands. You can't pass that on. You could guide someone, but ultimately it's a touch and it's a feel and it's working out. Okay, I've seen this before, and when you see these pictures again and again and again, you do start to know the areas that are a little bit risky to stay out of, and then you do know. But it does take time, and unfortunately, we all hear stories about how much money people are making, and you just try and increase your position size and you take risks. And then you get frustrated, and it is a series of emotional up. It's just like a roller coaster, but sooner or later that roller coaster does start to smooth out. And it changed for me in March, the beginning of March. I finally felt like I'm in control of my emotions now, and not the other way around. And then now I'm managing to get some accounts. The trades have all but disappeared. ADHD. Yeah, I think I get a little bit of that. You guys know me. I'm a bit wired, and I'll be 55 next month. So I think it's just played less of a role on my life. But yeah, that can affect you, I think. It certainly won't stop you, but it can create some tricky bits for you. But I'd definitely not say that. In fact, I think you're 50. Yeah, I'd say ADHD sometimes, because you can be very See, I find if you look at the human brain, I describe my brain as it works at 1.5 speed, so it tends to work overtime. So I think sometimes that could help you in certain ways, and other times hinder you. But this is a slow process that people can help you and guide you, but ultimately you have to experience it. It's like driving. You can't just jump in a car. It takes years to build up good experience and instinct on the road. It's the same sort of thing. Obviously a little bit more complicated. You're not going to become a great doctor overnight. It's going to be years and years of seeing so many different cases and getting better and better until you can look at a person, they can tell you what's wrong with them, and you're pretty much going to say, you've got this, you've got that. Whereas in your early days of being a doctor, you're constantly going to be looking to your superiors, aren't you, and your senior people. And it's the same with this. It is a real skill, and it does take a long time to master, but you'll just automatically, you can't fail to get better at this if you sat watching these charts, because you watch these bars long enough every single day, you'll start to understand what happens when we get to certain areas, and then you'll know, I don't like this, stay out. See, that short there did work. My gut feeling that it probably would be, but you have to take into consideration this is congested, and when it is congested, the risks of something a little bit more erratic. So we got a leg up here inside. We could trigger you. We've heard the story about most breakouts fail. It could trigger you and push back up into the range, pop up there, take out all these shorts and drop like a stone. So when you've been in these scenarios and you've lost enough trades, you'll start to know areas to stay out of. And then maybe when you get more advanced, you can work out what's going on in here, and maybe you can take that. But that's a little bit beyond me, really. But it is frustrating when you see it. And the trouble is, next time around, if you lose your patience and you jump in, it'll be that time that it will trigger you and stop you out. So my thought process is, if it doesn't feel right, and it is a lot on experience and gut feeling, and you get that sense, I think it's vital to listen to that. And if it doesn't feel right, just stay out of it. You never lose a penny for not taking a trade. But if you take a trade without thinking, and something inside tells you, I shouldn't do this, you'll end up kicking yourself. And that's what used to send me on tilt. When I took something, that voice inside my head said I really shouldn't. And that's lack of patience. And then you go on tilt, and all of a sudden you're back at square one, trying to do it all over again. You guys that are here every day, I think the majority of you guys are going to make it as traders, because you keep coming back. You're pig-headed and stubborn, and you don't like to lose, and that's the sort of attitude and mentality you got to have. But I completely get people who give up. I've had times where I've had tears in my eyes over the last 3 years. It's affected my mood. It's affected my bank account. But with persistence, it's like anything. If you want something bad enough and you're willing to work hard enough, you'll get there. And I've had no doubts, really. Although I have asked myself when I've been at my lowest, am I going to continue to be able to do this? Is this something that I can't do? Is it something that my personality, just won't work with? Yeah, you too, buddy. Have a good weekend. So I'm done there, guys. It's probably good I get off now, otherwise you're going to have to listen to me rabbit on for another hour. There might be 2 legs down here. Let me have a look. There may be a leg and another leg. And the reason I say that is because we've had a correction here, and this looks like some more downward stuff. So I would say, just in case you are carrying on trading, there's quite likely a leg and a leg there. So I wouldn't be surprised this ATR's dropping if this was going to continue to slowly come down. The daily says so. If you can get back here, you may get some sets. It keeps switching on and off, that does. But unfortunately, you've got to wait till you get up here. But if you don't get a setup like that, regardless of whether it comes down, you just can't take it, which is a pain. There are probably strategies that will allow you just to buy when it gets back here in a downtrend. But mine isn't one of them. So there you go, folks. Have a great weekend. If you're green at the moment, I'd say stay green. You'll enjoy your weekend more. But failing that, have a good weekend. I appreciate all your comments. I'll be back on Monday, hopefully. Hopefully we have a better week next week. You're welcome, Havana. You're welcome. So look, stay safe. Have a great weekend, and I'll be back on Monday. Bye for now.